Well, it's good to see you.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween week.
Yeah, Halloween week.
Because that's what we do now. I feel like ever since I moved to Disney, it's like Halloween week or Halloween month. Like
right.
and
it's not as bad as Christmas quarter, but
no, like I don't know. Do you guys decorate for Halloween?
We're not really doing so much this year. Halloween is actually we dig it because I have a theater degree and she's a creative person, and so we like making costumes and whatnot. But this year not so much. I've got a Jack Sparrow costume that I had built a couple of years ago, and I'm kind of juicing it back up. We're doing a thing where we're going to some friends in the neighborhood, just gonna hang out in their driveway while the kids come by, and I don't know, I guess we like lob candy at them or something. I don't know how it's gonna happen, how it's gonna work.
Yeah, Michelle,
but we're trying to do a social distance. I don't know if I have to like hum a Snickers at somebody's head or something. I don't know.
Michelle said her plan is to set a table out by the sidewalk, where the sidewalk leading up to the house intersects with the sidewalk in front of the house.
Yeah.
And she was very specific about this. She said put 12 candies. I don't know.
Like,
I'm pretty certain.
The representative of 12 types of candy,
the 12 apostles. I don't know. It's just
actual
a circle. It wasn't a pentagram, so I felt better about that.
That's good.
Although
I don't
that'd
think
be
12
a
is
little more creative. I mean, Halloween and everything.
It would be nice.
But
actually.
she's gonna do like it's like 12 candies in a circle,
Demon
and then
Skittles.
She's going to sit up on the porch.
Okay, with like a BB gun. If they take too many, you can thwack them.
I guess it's the enforcer or something. They're like, take one candy, and I can totally see her doing that. Take one candy.
Right. Yeah. Feel like a big old honking bullhorn or something.
And then when they're finished, when they're gone, I guess she figured out the maximum number of candy that could fit on the table she has in mind, with them being spaced apart enough so when somebody grabs one, they're not touching another one.
Oh,
I think that's what she's
socially
thinking.
distanced candy.
Yeah. Exactly. Because they have such interesting social lives to begin with, these candy bars.
Yeah.
So she's going to sit there, and then when it gets down to nothing, then she'll go refill it.
Okay. Yeah. This is not that's it. Sorry. I had 12.
You're right. Yeah,
First 12 kids have a nice Halloween. The rest of you bite me.
Should have been here.
I guess it's trick.
Here's the thing. I don't like trick-or-treaters.
Yeah?
I've pretty much figured out that I'm that old curmudgeon-y guy. I'm just not that. I don't look the part yet, but
okay.
But I'm like I'm well on my way to being that guy. I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I'm a friendly neighbor.
Right.
I say hi,
sure.
but I don't need to have an in-depth life. I don't need to have like a deep relationship with my neighbors. In fact, probably better that I don't, because your neighbors, they hear things and see things that you rather like other people not. Anyway, there's that.
Right.
That's one thing. That's like one, I think, tick, or notch in the belt, or whatever the right aphorism is. And then the second piece would be like, I don't like trick-or-treaters. Like, I don't. It's not that I don't like trick-or-treaters. Like, I don't want to get up.
Right.
I don't want to get up. I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, just leave me alone. And I would be fine. I would spend more than anyone on my block probably on candy if I could just set it out there and not have it all go in one visit. Because I'm generous. I just don't want to deal with you. Like, I don't want to say hi. I don't want to pretend like I like your costume.
Oh, what are you supposed to be?
I don't care. I'm sorry. Like, I know. I'm like, I get it. Like, and when it was painful as a parent to take my children around, I hated it. I hated every minute of it. You know why? Because I felt like I'm bothering that person
on Halloween night.
And every once in a while, you would lock eyes with the other person. You're like, I know, right? Like,
You know?
I
Yeah.
know. I've just had to. It's just a thing, just got to do it. And they're like, yeah, I just had to answer. I know, it's our thing. But we both would rather not be there. And then you get the little nice old lady or the young lady, or like the Michelle-like person who's like, oh, look at you. What's so nice.
Yeah, some people really
and that's
go
great.
crazy for that.
Like, God, more power to
I
them.
hire them to do that.
I just don't like. Can I give those people candy? Like, here, give out my candy.
Right, exactly. It should be like a thing you can get on Fiverr, like a candy distribution professional.
Can we just pull the candy? Can I just donate, and then other people will hand out the like that's. I mean that. Look, 501c3s work this way.
There you go.
Some
That's
people
true.
donate money, and other people donate time, and other people do in-kind contribute. Like, there's all sorts of contributions. So there's all sorts of ways to contribute to a good cause, and I would just like to contribute in a way that doesn't make me get off my couch.
Right, a lot, over and over.
And you know what? Here's the other thing. I have never experienced Halloween without a dog. I've always owned a dog during Halloween, and I think that also has something to do with it, because every time they ring the doorbell,
doorbell, yeah.
and the only way around that is to sit outside on the porch, which in a lot of places is just cold.
But here, it's
and
just
here
hot.
you just get bitten up by bugs.
Right.
So, and my dogs know I'm out there. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
They can smell the fear. They're like, I know he's out there, dude. And they'll start barking as soon as they hear. And I can't interact with people, because if I interact with people,
Right.
they're going to hear me talking. They're, aha, he's actually here. So this is what we do. Michelle will sit out there and hand out the candy, 12 pieces at a time.
Yeah.
And I will probably be working. Although it's a Saturday, right? So I'll probably be working. Who am I kidding? I was like, it is what it is. You will be dressed up in juicy sparrow outfit, and
That's right. Heavy on the juice, low pulp.
when you said you're going to juice it up or something.
Oh.
The imagery.
Ew.
You can imagine the Jack Sparrow juiced up imagery I have in my head.
Some sparrow juice. Yeah, you want some?
It's Halloween. Oh, it's Halloween.
Jamba juice.
So will you hand out? So are you going to a person's house? You said, or are you going to hand out candy? Or
Yeah, because in our little townhome complex, we're not really anticipating a whole lot of trick or treaters, because it's a bit more of a neighborhood kind of thing. I mean, this is on Main Street, and it's all close together, and there's no real way to do it at a distance because the buildings are close together and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got some friends here in the neighborhood, and we'll just go out there and hang out with them and yell hi, at people as they go by 30 feet away and pick up candy. Again, it may be like that. It may be on a table where it's in a bowl or spaced out, so there's no cross contamination or whatever. Or I'm kind of hoping that it does involve hurling candy at some point, but I think I'm going to be in the minority on that one.
You need a big tube.
So
Somebody said that's
an
what they were
M&Ms
doing.
or a Skittles. That's more like a bean bag, right? That's not going to hurt anybody. It's you haul off with a bit of honey and just like chop them right in the head.
You know Michael Ruffin of
I do, yes.
the
I love Michael Ruffin.
moving platform podcast thing. He said that at, I think it was SeaWorld, they were doing the trick or treating or the handing out of candy through PVC tubes. Like, I guess you couldn't do anything heavy.
Yeah, and
like donk.
Like gravity fed, or are they kind of blow gunning it?
No, I don't think they're blowing. I don't think they're
I think that would be more
shooting
fun.
darts or anything.
Yeah. You could turn this into a really fun event.
It's the poison dart headhunter theme
Kind of
overlay
defeats the
at
purpose of the whole
SeaWorld.
COVID thing, though, if you're actually blowing on the candy as it shoots across the. But
even simulated.
You take some, you lose some.
You take some, you lose.
I don't know.
It's like the worst Halloween horror movie ever created. Take some, you lose some. The person puts their hand in the dish and terrible. So I feel like we have a lot of Halloween-ish things to talk about.
Yeah, this week has garnered us a large array of pins that we need to revisit.
It's almost like one of those what do you call the little dolls? The little
voodoo doll?
Voodoo. It's like a little voodoo doll, yeah.
Somebody's in serious pain right now because this is a lot of stuff.
Just saying. And maybe it's not us. Maybe it's the person with the headphones. So I don't know. Do you want to start? Do you have something you would like to talk about first? You like to get it off your chest?
Do you have anything that I should get off my chest?
I don't know.
That you have in mind? Okay, I was just making sure that wasn't a loaded question. Well, I don't know. I mean, I have one that from a couple of, it's not particularly spooky or anything, but it is. You kind of dread their appearance in your life.
It's not Black Aggie, is it?
It is not Black Aggie, but I did look up Black Aggie, and that is a very scary looking statue, by the way.
But and where is it? It's in which museum?
It's in Dolly Madison's house or whatever. Yeah,
I feel like of course it is. I feel like we have to do an accidentally derivative visits the Dolly
field
Madison
trip
house. Yeah,
I'm for that.
Right.
We're already supposed to do a Noga's Cantina thing, but anyway,
that's closer. We should do that first.
Yeah, let's do a dry run. See how it works. Get all the way up to Dolly Madison and be like,
or a wet run.
This sucks. But blue milk. So I work I work remote, but if I were on premises, I would be in an office, and I deal with people who email a lot. But there's one particular kind of person, and we almost got off on this when we were talking about my friend from the before times that did all of his word processing in Excel.
Oh, that guy.
I
love that guy.
The genius, Mozart level genius, that guy. But you get those guys for whom email apparently doesn't exist, and they just haul off and call you.
Oh, how long ago was this?
And I don't want to get too Larry David on this, but
how long ago was this?
Oh, I had a call from this guy today.
Oh, this is fresh.
This is something I'm dealing with right now.
Oh, this is fresh. This is not like a tale from back in.
No. This isn't even like a thing where it's like, hey, don't do that email stuff. It's nothing like the Matlock. None of that. It's a guy right now, my age, but for whatever reason, instead of sending me an email, he's going to call me.
Wait, this is the same guy?
No, not the same guy. No, different guy.
Oh, okay. Because the other guy was
subject
from
came
time,
up.
He was like from back.
Yeah, that was back in the day.
I thought he persisted or something. Okay.
Right. I mean, to be honest with you, this dude is that kind of guy too. But not. All
right. So now I'm with you.
Is an Excel guy, but the Excel guy was a call guy too. But this guy, my age. No aversion to electronic communications, works in the telecommunications industry, love of God, and just does not send me an email, does not send me an IM. We got the IM going. We got Microsoft Teams. There are any number of ways that he can contact me that don't involve using a device that when you use it correctly is basically hey, stop everything you're doing and pay attention to me right now. Whatever you're doing, the thought process, screw your thought process. Right here. Come on, right here, talk to me. That's what it does. And it does that, like, if you're doing it correctly.
Well, both people have to. So wait. Okay, hold on. Is he a sales guy?
You know what? He is.
Of course he is. Because that's what they do, man. That's what they do. They're the only people in the world that I know who answer. They like their phone rings, they answer it immediately. They don't even look. They're like, hello.
Go for Barney.
John here. Whatever. Like,
yeah.
Because they're always trying to close. They've all watched
ABC.
Glengarry Glen Ross, right? They've all
Coffee's for closing.
Gotta be closing. Always be closing. I think that's what. Always be closing. Like they're
A, always B, C, closing.
Right. They're the guy at the airport who.
Oh, that guy.
Insists,
yes.
I mean, people.
This guy is that guy.
Let me
yes.
if there's anyone out there listening, if you're in sales or in anything, let me give you a few pointers here. Number one, whatever
Get out of sales.
Well, here's the thing. Whatever you're doing, it's almost like the deal that you're working on or you're trying to work on, whatever it is. If it's so important that you need to be working on it up to the minute when the flight attendant is standing over you, like telling you for the third time you need to get off the phone, you shouldn't be on the plane. That deal is too important. That conversation is too important for you to be cutting it off like that.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you really do value that relationship that you're, apparently you're building or sustaining or whatever over the phone, or the deal that you're trying to close, don't do it on the airplane.
Yeah.
Because and if you feel like you need to be, yelling at somebody who you work with or maybe who has failed you in some way, also, please don't do it on the airplane. Because, if there's people like me who feel like I get like sympathy nausea. I also get sympathy like I don't know, whatever the feeling is, like sadness. I have no idea, but like I feel bad like when you're yelling at that person who I don't know, and then you look over at me like right, like that guy, right? And I'm like no, that guy is destroyed because he feels how I feel right now. Okay,
Right.
Okay. Also, don't discuss whatever you have to discuss at the urinal. And I don't mean like to the guy next to you, because that's wrong too. I mean,
but like on the phone.
On the phone. Don't be that guy.
The reverb in a bathroom is unlike the reverb in any other room in existence. It's unmistakable.
Unless
the person
you're
on the other end knows that you are in the bathroom, and since your one hand is free to talk to this guy, or you're standing in one place for a good amount of time and we're not hearing running water, the person on the other end of the phone knows exactly what you're doing and they are not happy about it.
Right.
I'll guarantee it.
I mean, I feel like we could do a whole thing just about like the phone etiquette, right? Which we're not going to get into. So we'll put a pin in it.
Yeah. Pin for next time.
But it's like, so sales guy, I can, of course he calls you because he is trying to, they see the world through their eyes, right. And they assume everybody else sees the world through their eyes too. Mm-hmm. And everybody else in the world must want to talk to them as much as they want to talk to whoever they're trying to talk to. Because who wouldn't?
Right. Yeah.
How could you not want to talk to that person?
And the puzzling thing is when I'm in the middle of something and I'm on a train of thought or I'm on a roll or whatever that I'm doing, I will just absolutely ignore them. Mm-hmm. And you'd say, "Oh, I'll pick it up in the voicemail." Mm-hmm. He didn't leave a voicemail. So like if I happened to be in the John while he called, I wouldn't even know he called. You know he called because his caller ID comes up. One, I guess, on there. Yeah. Yeah. But I kind of assumed that if you didn't leave a voicemail, it either wasn't all that important, or you realized that the answer to your question was as you were calling me and decided to abort the call, kind of. Right. And another addendum to the guy, to the sort of the message to the guy on the plane is also that microphones on phones these days are very sensitive and very good. And honestly, if you're talking like this on the thing, you are just as legible as if you're talking like this. And I was going to say, Bob, hey, Bob, God, I hate that guy. I hate that guy so much. He's talking louder than he would to the pilot. Like if the pilot was in the chair.
Why are we letting him talk to the pilot?
Well, I mean, all the way to the front of the plane behind a bolted door, and that guy can hear him.
Was somebody carry the pilot on the phone? No.
Hey, pilot. Yeah, I can hear you back there, dude. The pilot's up front going, there's a guy back there talking real loud on his phone. I can hear him through the door.
You want to buy some fiber?
No, I got to be in this seat for a long time.
So, I mean, that kind of fiber, I mean, like telecom.
Oh. I see what you're saying now.
Staying in your lane,
misunderstood.
Man. You're doing it. Could I interest you in some mueslicks?
I love
that's
passenger
right.
supplied
That's
mueslicks.
right. You're a grape nuts person. That's right. I forgot.
I am?
Aren't you?
No, I am not.
I feel like we've talked about this.
We talked about grapes.
I feel like we talked about you being a grape nuts person.
I am.
Are you sure?
Well, Emily's a grape nuts person, so I think maybe that's where it is. But I myself do not like the nut of grape.
I feel like you're a closeted grape nuts person now.
I am. There are a few of us that are underground, and we're just not ready to come out there yet and put it out there and live our truth as a grape nuts guy.
I don't know why people like. Well, thank goodness. The generation coming up now, like my kids, they don't call anybody.
Yeah, like that aspect of the phone doesn't even exist to them. They're like, what is this weird crescent on here?
They've taken it too far because they also don't punctuate.
Well, there's that.
And I've been told, my kids try to like teach me how I'm wrong. Like apparently I'm not supposed to put there is no difference between your and your. Like it's just.
Oh, see, let's not be teaching people that.
There's also no then. It doesn't matter which then you use. I mean it's all THEN. Anyway,
this hurts my head.
They don't punctuate. They don't use periods because to use a period.
I kind of get this one.
That you're upset.
Right, or you're being sarcastic, or.
Right.
You either have to put nothing at the end, and that's supposedly sort of a normal thing, or an upbeat thing would be to put the exclamation point at the end. But if you put a period, it's like you have that.
Well, because they don't write in more than one sentence either. Like it's just
face.
You just put a line, and then they don't do like the long they keep one thought in a. Yeah, they don't do that. So you don't need periods when you're just writing little thought bubbles. Blip, 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 blip,
Some
blip.
people at my job do that too, and especially for the IM. And it's like they don't, like you're saying, it's a single sentence or phrase per hitting that enter key. And so instead of getting a single message with 5 sentences, you get 5 different messages.
And God help you if you have notifications turned on.
There you go. And if you start like typing because they sent a thing, and oh wait, you weren't finished talking.
Well, that's where the little dots come in. I mean, thank God for those, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, they're not finished. Not gonna type yet. But then you get like the guy who like, and it's forever. Like wow, they're writing a doozy. They're writing a doozy.
They're going through an editing process.
And then it just is. It's like you lost the pulse. Like they're dead. Time of death. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's either they just kind of got distracted, decided to start making cookies, or like the thing was giving you a false positive and it was kind of goofing with you.
Right, and now it's been 10 minutes and I didn't write baback the thing that I was going to respond with. And now
it's going to be weird if I do.
Right, but it's hanging out there.
Yeah.
So
you just send them a goat emoji.
Right.
Just be like, I don't know, let's see if we can get this going again with something weird.
Well, and then today, we're getting way off on a tangent, but like today, my son Henry, who's 14,
Unusual.
says, we're texting with each other, and he writes, I say thank you, and he writes no problem, and I am like, stop, don't say no problem, because like say thank you. I mean, say you're welcome, say my pleasure, say whatever, but don't say no problem, because I didn't think there was a problem. Like, why are you saying no problem? And he said that's a generational thing. That's like what they say. And he said saying thank you sounds sarcastic.
Saying thank you or saying
writing thank you. I'm sorry. Saying you're welcome sounds sarcastic. Like if somebody says thank you and they say you're welcome, if they write you're welcome, then that sounds sarcastic.
Especially if you put a period at the end.
Well, of course. Right.
You're welcome.
Period.
Especially if you spell out period. You're welcome.
And I'm
period.
Like, why you're hurting? And he said, Dad, it's just what our generation does. And I said, look, dude, your generation is going to count on our generation for jobs. So
right.
You should probably figure this out. You talk to your people like that, that's fine. Talk to your boss like that, he's gonna think you're an idiot. At least until your generation, or maybe the millennials, God help us, like get into positions of power. Sorry, I just offended a whole bunch of millennials, but that's okay.
Like and subscribe. Hit that bell.
Hang on, because it gets better, and you're going to hear.
Oh, good.
You're going to want to hear what comes next. No, but I think that I realize that our ways are like slowly fading off, but our ways are actually. It's not like I'm trying to teach cursive here. Like our ways
right.
are like they're actually the correct ways. Like I mean, on the one hand, I have my son saying, "Don't punctuate anything," and for God's sake, don't say you're welcome.
Right.
And then I have people like, our friends on the other side of the pond who give me a hard time for saying Craig incorrectly.
You're just getting it from all sides.
I can't win with this English stuff. Like I can't so I don't think it's asking too much to use punctuation.
Mm-hmm.
To
I'm
craft
with you on that one.
sentence. I don't think that you always have to have like when you're doing instant message stuff or whatever. You're just like quick little like BRBs and whatever. Like fine, AFK, like fine. But if you're actually engaged in a conversation with I don't know your parent or your grandparent or your boss or a colleague, like if you work in a real like a job that actually has some girth to it, like. Write in full sentences with punctuation. Text messaging. This is the only way we're going to text messaging will save us from those people who want to call, but only when it's taken seriously. Otherwise, people are going to default either to phone calls or to emails. God help us, emails. Like they're not, and we don't want any of that nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't like emails. I'm not an email person.
No, I like them a lot better than phone calls.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Okay. We're gonna come back to this on another night. You're gonna have to put another pin in this thing because I feel like we have to.
Electronic communications.
You and I have to talk about the etiquette related to communications in general.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Don't you think?
I'm good with that. Yeah, yeah.
But is this guy is he still have you told him? Have you said to him? Can you just not call me?
No.
Can you just send me a text?
I have said, "Hey, I'm busy right now. Can you throw what you got at me through an email before?" But it was more of an ad hoc kind of thing. Like I'm currently busy. Not as a general rule.
The fact, okay,
don't
wait,
hit my phone. Like you having my phone number is a thing that I'm not very happy about, to be honest with you. And so let's not use that unless we absolutely need to.
You just said ad hoc. I feel like we have to translate that for people. It means
for
like
this.
It means like
on for this.
But doesn't. But that's not how people use it.
Well, it is, yeah. For this, I'm
ad
doing
hoc.
it
I
for
mean,
this.
like
It's ad hoc. Like I'm
on the
doing
fly,
this for
kind
this
of like-
situation. For this, it's just for this right now.
not as a rule, not like
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's not a systematic thing.
Yeah.
It's something you're doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like for
So,
the six millennials who stayed on. I want to make sure that we will guide you through the rest.
Need some tutoring on their modern day Latin phrases.
The 6 millennials and 1 Brit. We will guide you through the rest of this experience with psilocybin. So here we go.
So
I almost died today.
You mentioned this in text message, and you punctuated it correctly too.
Thank you. I don't know if I died. I don't know if I almost died. Well, death was definitely one of the possible outcomes.
Certainly.
Certainly,
most things.
Like so on the spectrum of possible outcomes from this event, none of these things happen, of course, but like the certain possible outcome was bruising.
So, on an average, at least bruising, you were going to come out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we actually if this spectrum also contains the things that did happen, like emotional distress was definitely one of them. Right? Okay. So then bruising, and then all the way to maiming, and then eventual, and then death,
and then just wiped out.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't mean to beat a dead horse. I really do not mean to beat a dead horse. But we got to talk about my friend.
Hand me that baseball bat.
We got to talk about my friend. Who I passed on the walk.
The sidewalk miscreant.
This elderly gentleman, who's not so elderly that he can't fake run, and he also does this fake mask thing. Like, oh, I am running by you.
Right,
I'll put the mask on. Okay, buddy. We all get it. You're so much better than us because you wear the mask for 10 seconds and then you take it off.
Mask wearing.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's like. I give him plenty of room. I'm like 10 feet of room. I'm like, it's wide boulevards of sidewalks. Anyway, and it's not that populated except today. Today, I'm coming around the corner, and of course I see him. The first time I see him, as I'm approaching this large pond. That he just circles around. He goes counterclockwise.
Interesting detail.
He goes counterclockwise and he stays on the inside track. So he's on the incorrect side of the sidewalk.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. He's closest to the pond. Okay.
Maybe it's an English thing.
No. He's no. So he says, Craig. So we're coming. So I
Craig,
see him.
right?
The minute I see him, I'm like, oh no, not that guy, right? And I'm going to deal with him anyway. So come around, and I already told you, I've already given up. Like I've already accepted the fact that I'm the lesser person, that I have fewer rights, that I should just give way, right? So as I see him approaching, so I'm smart enough because me, like I'm conscientious to a fault apparently, because as I'm approaching where I turn, so imagine this pond thing, this loop around the pond intersects with a sidewalk that runs along the street.
Right.
And so as I'm intersecting with that sidewalk, I look to my left. I know he's coming and he's on the wrong side of the sidewalk. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have to walk on the incorrect side of the sidewalk to pass him. But I need to be aware of anybody who may be on a bike who's coming up from behind me, right? And so I look to my left, and sure enough, there's a person on the bike, but they're about 2 blocks back. And I think timing wise, I think I can pass him.
Yeah, you start running simulations in your head.
Yeah, before I get to him. It's such a pleasurable walk. So here he is, and he's doing his thing, and I'm like, and I'm sure like, okay, if he sees somebody coming at me, he's going to like also get over or give. I don't know. He's with me, right? He's going to participate. So I'm coming. He's coming towards me. I get on the other. I'm now on the incorrect side of the sidewalk. For him, it's the correct side of the sidewalk. And I even turn back, once or twice just to make sure the bicycle isn't like imminent. It's not. And we pass each other. I say good morning because I'm polite even to the and and he says good morning back through like half held mask.
Does he verbally put that punctuation on there to make it kind of sarcastic?
I felt like there was a period in there. And then, so then he moves on. And so then I'm going to go back as soon as he passes. I'm aware this bike's coming. Mm-hmm. So I need to get back to the correct side.
Right.
Right. So I have to give him enough. I have to give him enough social distance space. Right. And then as soon as he passes, I'm doing like the tracks. Right. So so as I come back over, there's a scream.
Because that guy,
like a banshee. Like a bitch, like a I can't even do it into the ears. It was like I'm gonna step back. It's like It was it had like it was gravelly. It was like if a wound, if you've ever crashed on your bike and you get like a wound and you get like rocks in the wound, the nasty if a wound could make a sound, like a wound like that could make a sound, this is what it would sound like. I don't know. Scared the bejesus out of me. Like I turn, because even by like standards, there's no way that bike should be there at that moment.
Right.
But there, this person is on a bike with little AirPod things in, looking at me like, and I remember like I'm processing it. Like I think she tried to make a sound. She tried to tell me that I was going to be like that she's on my right, but she didn't do it like early enough. Probably because that guy, I think he complicated. He disrupted the entire
the X factor
symphony.
In all of this.
Like because we would have all been fine. Everything would have been fine had he not been the guy on the middle of the tracks, right? And so
he was on his right, on the correct side.
So I couldn't even really yell. I mean, of course, in my head, I'm thinking, why, dude? Like seriously, you're on a bike. Number one, you should be more careful. That, I mean. She must have weaved around him. Like I don't even know how she got to where he had been. Like not even a second. A second didn't even pass. Like there's no way. She must have been like doing like weaves, right? I look back again. There's another bike. So she wasn't even the bike. I don't even know where she came from. Like she wasn't there. The person I thought was coming was exactly where I expected them to be.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be my question.
No, I wasn't off on my timing.
Right.
It was just this banshee that came out of nowhere. Wow. She almost ran me over.
Guess
it was like
you waiting for a little bit to keep that social distance before you changed lanes made her think you were going to stay
I was staying.
In that lane.
She thought I was. I bet she thought I was the problem.
Yeah, but little
Couldn't
does
be
she
the
know,
old man with the mask,
the sidewalk miscreant back there. Hey, he's the guy. He's what you want.
And as soon as this happened, I felt like I needed to send you a text message.
Yeah, like immediately. I
should have called you though, is what I should have done. Next time I'm just gonna call.
Well, I would have answered for that. No, put her on. Put her on.
Then I would have been like, "Why did you answer? Don't you know I don't want you to answer? I don't actually want to talk to you.
I was trying to get your voicemail."
So that was like my experience. I had this banshee experience today. Yeah. It was like,
you got your heart rate up though.
No, that's the problem. I can't get my heart. I got to start running, but when I start running, I get shin splints.
Ow.
And it hurts. And I mean, they sting. It's like someone's driving a little daggers, like thousands of little daggers into your shins. But if I don't run, I can't get my heart rate up enough.
Yeah. I get problems with my IT band on my right leg and some like from the hip down to my knee. It's just pain.
Did you call the helpline?
I have to like foam roll it.
Did you call the helpline, the help desk?
I did. They asked if I turned it on and off again.
Is it plugged in?
Is
it plugged in?
Well, there's nothing on the display, so.
Where's the any key?
Right.
Where's it?
It's like working in IT for like I was in the IT department at the community college before I got my current job, and it was always kind of funny the little codes and whatnot that you have for. My favorite is PEBCAC, that you've diagnosed the problem and you've decided that it's PEBCAC, PEBKAC, which is problem exists between keyboard and chair.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite.
That's a good one.
But
that's a good one. So I know there's something else I wanted to talk to you about.
Well, you mentioned something in your lunch break today at herewiththemagiclive.com. Plug.
Thank you very much.
There was some kind of mascot thing in Baltimore from the 80s or something that you were talking about, it being like really crappy graphics, and it was something.
Oh, Captain Chesapeake.
Yes. Okay.
And the sea monster.
Captain Chesapeake and the Sea Monster.
And it went.
What the hell?
Okay. On WBFF, which still exists, it's now a Fox station. It was probably Fox then. I don't know. But anyway, the BBFF, Fox 45, but not. It wasn't Fox 45. It was just like UHF channel 45.
Oh wow.
As opposed to VHF. Now we've lost all of them. Now they're gone.
This is actually channel 1 through 13, but we can't use channel 1. The government uses that. Hey, I was in broadcast.
We used to have to get up and change channels for our parents.
Ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. and that inner thing that you had to move to fine tune it.
Yeah. I wish, don't you wish you had that now though?
Yeah, I really do.
Like I could use that little fine tuner on my phone. Like, can I just fine tune the Wi-Fi a little bit? Like,
a little bit.
Anyway, it was after school, and that was the station that would play like the reruns. And so that was the go-to station for me to watch Gilligan's Island, Hogan's Heroes, Gomer Pyle, all the.
Weirdly enough, I think our Fox station was that too. In Little Rock back in the day.
Did you have Captain Chesapeake?
We did not have. I've never heard of Captain Chesapeake.
Well, I think it was a Baltimore thing.
Thing.
I think it was because it was a local thing. So it was like the guy, Captain Chesapeake, and he had the sailor's cap, and the captain's cap, whatever. And he had a sea monster who was down because he was on the boat with the blue green screen, whatever, behind him.
Sure.
That made him look like he was out in the Chesapeake Bay. And then there was like the sea monster down there, and he would talk to the sea monster.
And what form would the sea monster take?
It was green,
But is it like a cartoony thing, or is it a puppet, or is it a person?
No, it was very much like a puppet thing.
Great.
But big.
I love it. A really big puppet.
But probably somebody inside it or something. I don't know. And
I don't think so.
And it was made to look like it was like in the water. This is why in my head
awesome.
when I was in
that is awesome.
My head was sitting the thing, and I feel like I need to find this because I can't.
I love local television puppet shows.
No, you're just punking me. Right? It's like
no, seriously.
I love local television puppet shows, man. Those words just came out of your mouth.
That's going to be our first accidentally derivative T-shirt.
I don't think anyone's going to want to wear that.
Well, that's the first one.
I found it. All you have to do is Google search Captain Chesapeake, and the dude's right there, and there's the sea monster. And this time the sea monster's
too, huh?
The sea monster's actually on the ship with them. How did it get up there?
Oh, see, it's an invasion.
Oh, this is crazy. This is, I don't even know. It says 92% like the
Sparkle.
show.
Is Sparkle the sea monster? Or no, Mondi is the sea monster. What is Captain Chesapeake and Sparkle? It's an autocomplete.
Oh, Mondi, right. Oh my goodness, this is the best. It ran until 1990.
Wow. There's a lot of stuff. Oh, wait a minute.
It ran for almost 30 years.
Oh, that's Chesapeake. Never mind. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Dude, who's Chesapeake?
Here's
a picture. I found the one where he's like in the water. He's made to look like he's in the water. Oh my gosh. It's so good. You have to. I can't even.
Oh, I'm looking at the images on here.
This is what I grew up with, man. This is it. This is the stuff.
Dude, that sea monster is awesome.
No, but do I? Yeah, it was Channel 45. Yep, I was right.
That one horn.
Captain Chesapeake.
Oh, I've got a whole. There's a whole. The Magic of Baltimore. Blogspot.com.
Wow.
Has Captain Chesapeake, and they're asking who remembers Andrew Claus the lion, Bruce the bird, Mondi the sea monster.
Mondi the sea monster was like
and the curious cabin where universal laws did not apply. Captain C would perform experiments such as pouring water from a pitcher where it spilled out at an angle.
Dude, there's a YouTube video of the intro. I feel like we have to put. We're not gonna do this now, but we got to post this on our Facebook
Yeah,
page.
this will be a
This
post.
is, oh my gosh, I gotta get back here.
This is fantastic. Oh, dude.
Nothing but good
somebody
memories of Captain Chesapeake, and love
All
that.
right, I am totally sending you this.
So that was thanks for bringing that back. I totally forgot about that. I wouldn't have thought about Captain Chesapeake for like another decade. Again, sad.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not with us anymore. But
Yeah, I don't know. These little sea dogs are pretty resilient.
yeah, Mondi might still be alive though.
That's true. I
Mondi's
bet you
out
somewhere
there somewhere.
Mondi's in a closet somewhere ready for the
Closet? I
reboot.
think. I mean, he's in the Chesapeake Bay.
That's true. He's in the bay.
What are you talking about?
He's
He's
in
in
the
the
bay.
closet. What the heck are you talking about?
There's somebody who's friends with Mondi.
Good
or
Lord,
whatever it
man.
is.
What's wrong with you? Oh my God! No one puts Mondi in a closet.
True. Oh, Lord have mercy.
So I think I also wanted to talk about my haunted experiences.
Well, is that, yeah, you did send me the rather cryptic fans' voices psychosis.
Yes.
I wrote these down, you see. I actually prepared this week.
Yes. Okay. So here's the thing. Did you ever find yourself, and so remember I sleep with white noise? We've been
Yes, I
through
do.
that. We've established that. Okay. I don't know if you do. I can't remember. I don't think
do
you
not.
do. Right.
Not
You
really.
probably should try it.
I sometimes when I nap, I'll have some, but if it's at nighttime, I don't typically need it.
Yeah, because that guy's not going to call.
Well,
We need
that's
to
not
give him a
entirely
name.
true, but that's what
Okay.
Do Not Disturb is for.
So, how do I begin with this? Okay. At the time I thought of this, it wasn't sleeping per se. I may have been in the
Oh, yeah?
bathroom
Oh, okay.
and I had the fan on
Right.
and I could swear I heard voices. Like, I'm hearing voices. And you turn the fan off, no voices.
No voices.
Fan back on. I could swear, like, is that a radio? Like, what is that? I don't know. So I'm thinking, like, I'm just hearing, like, sometimes there must be, like, just some rhythmic nature, something, some melody to the fan sound that then your brain tries
Yeah.
to. It's like seeing faces and things,
Right.
Like
your
brain just
seeks
tries
out
to.
patterns where.
Like, oh, a face. It's like I think my brain is like, oh, what were you trying to say? What? Okay.
There's a. Oh,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that there is a sort like a phenomenon that people apparently will hear voices in the static on a television. I've heard that, and that there's like a belief that that's like you're talking to the spirit world or whatever, but you're of course not. But but that in particular, from what I understand, is real bad about your brain hearing voices and things in that particular sound.
So, so I've had these experiences in the past where there's I think that this in particular hasn't happened to me for a while, but it did happen to one of my kids. It probably has to do with the psychosis that I passed down through my genes. But I would drift off to sleep, and then I would hear somebody shout my name.
Ooh.
Just as I was just about to fall asleep, I'd, Jason.
And you do the jerk thing?
Yeah.
You wake
Like,
up.
what's that about, right? I just feel it's anxiety. I mean, a lot of it happened while I was in law school. Like, it's like, I think it's just a lot of pressure or whatever. Okay. But the problem with that is I do have experiences with something. Call it ghosts, hauntings, the spirit world, residual energy. I don't know what it is. All I know is there's weird stuff that's happened to me.
Okay.
Okay, and it's not just me. So I'll go back. I'm going to take you back to the house I grew up in. That was the house that my grandfather built in like 1950 something, whatever. I would have this recurring dream that it was a 2-level house. There was like a basement with like the club basement kind of thing, and so part of the basement walked out because it was in a hill kind of. So part of the basement walked out into like the driveway, backyard area. The other part of the basement had windows, but they were like ground level windows.
Mm-hmm.
So you could only like see, it's just because it was in a hill. Okay, does that make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
It's important because what's important is because I don't know if you can see this. I'm like literally like the hair on my arms is on end, standing on end. Just think this is how deeply affected I am by this. I'm like,
wow.
I'm like,
okay.
I'm like gonna start rocking myself here soon. All right, so I would have this reoccurring nightmare that, oh my God, that somebody was downstairs, like at that window. So it wasn't just at the window. Like I would look out the window from that downstairs basement thing, and like there was this person standing like on this property, this neighboring property, like across the street, just up the hill, just a little bit from us, who's like looking at me. And I would start to move away, and somehow he would end up there in that spot, like almost like there was a door there instead of a window.
Okay.
And we would play this whole game where I would go up the steps. I'd like go up the steps, not in a panic, just up to the top of the steps, basement steps to the kitchen. And there was a door to the stairs there. And I would say, okay. I would shut the door and I'd start running. And running meant like running from the kitchen through the dining room, past the living room, and trying to probably make it to either my bedroom or my parents' bedroom or something.
Now, this is a dream?
Yeah. And I could hear him coming up after me, coming up the stairs to get me. And I could never make it past. I could never even make it into the dining room hardly before like I felt him tackle me. And I would wake up. And this was my recurring nightmare. And the only change to this is sometimes the dude would be, and this is where it kind of intersects with that Burnt Offerings movie, Burnt Offerings, which was made in like 1979 or something like that. It was like scared the bejesus out of me. Sometimes the dude was across the street in the other direction, like across this main road, like looking from across the street at me, and I could see him coming over to me, and I would like half the time I couldn't get the door locked. Like to the like it wasn't our front door, it was the door we always used, like on the side of the house. I couldn't get the door locked before he got there. Like it was one of those things like, what's wrong with the lock? Sometimes I was saving my family. Like they were going to go hide, and I'm the one that's responsible for locking the door. Sometimes because I'm like this still, I'm like, did I lock the door? Did I lock the door? I have to go back and try to. I'm gonna go check and make sure the door is actually locked. And so to do that, I have to unlock it, and that's the time he comes in. All these variations of this dude coming into the house. Okay, scary, crazy, and sometimes he's like looking in the window at me, like, oh man.
So how old were you when
I had this for like my entire childhood. I don't know. It's probably the lead paint on the Star Wars glasses that I would get at Burger King or something.
Could be.
All right, I bring this I'm telling you this because years later. Also, I was always scared of this corner in my living room too, like. In the middle of the night when I would like wake up and decide to go to my parents' room to wake them up for, I don't know why, because they're gonna put me back to bed or something. I would hustle past this one spot, like the one part of the hallway that like entered the living room, because I was afraid of this like person being in the corner in the living room.
Same person.
I don't know, something, right? Years later, talking to my younger brother about this, he had almost the exact same dreams.
Whoa.
Same spot. For him, there was the window was never there in his dreams. There was always a door in the basement. Dude would run after him. Same deal. Always came from the same spot up the hill. Same dream.
Did he also have the creep out factor with that corner in the room too?
Yes, because there used to be there was a green chair that sat in the corner of the room. That's also where we would go for timeout when we were in trouble.
Yeah.
And we still to this day don't refer to the green chair. Okay, so
we have to go into timeout into this area that's demon possessed or whatever.
So then it gets worse.
That's no good.
Okay. Years later, my father, because I shared a bedroom with my younger brother, and then when I don't know, when I was 15, 14, 15, probably when I was 15, he built like a little bedroom for me down in the basement. And I had probably stopped having these nightmares by that
Okay, I would hope.
Yeah, for years. Well,
good night.
You know where this is going, right? The bedroom was in that same part of the basement where that window. My window in my bedroom, where my cat would sometimes sleep, like my window was that window.
Uh-huh.
Now, I was obviously not, I was never longer frightened or anything of these things. I didn't, like, otherwise I'd be like, I'm not sleeping in that room. There's no way you're sleeping. I was, like, far from, I don't even think I had remembered it at that point. One day, I'm going to sleep, going to bed, lights off, didn't use white noise or anything, turn the lights off, turn the TV off, go to sleep. And I'm laying there, and I kid you not, I'm feeling. And at this point, I was probably in like my first year of college or so, and I'm laying there, and I'm like, there's something here with me, like somebody's here. Like at first I thought like maybe my brother had come in to get something, I don't know. Like I wake up, I look, like I don't go back to sleep. I still feel something here, like somebody's in this room. I open my eyes. At the foot of the bed, there's this light, like an orb.
What?
Telling you the truth. Like there is this light at the bottom of the foot of the, like not at the foot, not on the bed, not like, it was like where, like if someone's standing, probably their like stomach would be, or depending on how tall they are. I don't know. Like there's a light there. I hauled ass out of my room in my underwear so fast. I ran upstairs. I sat in the kitchen. Like I don't remember who was even there. I remember my dad was. I don't know. Like it was like no, because he would have been. I'm like, and I slept in my younger brother's room that night on the floor. And the next night I went and I never, ever slept in that room again without either the television on or a light on or something. Because that freaked me out. Okay.
So when you slept in your brother's floor, did you tell him what happened? Or was he asleep?
He was probably asleep at that point. I just kind of snuck in, yeah, because it was probably summer and I needed heat. I mean, I needed AC or something. I don't remember. I had a waterbed, so I never had to worry about AC in the summer because it's always, you just turn the heat down and it's cold.
Yeah.
Third year of college, third year. I know. I was house sitting for a professor of mine. And same people who they like introduced me to sushi for the first time, and it was great people. I think she's now a professor. She's a professor of political science. I think she's at Chico State in California now. And they had this house. They rented a house because she was on faculty at a local university, and they leased this house that was out like in the middle of nowhere. Old house, and it had this creepy little basement, like almost like a dirt floor basement with like cinder block walls, and there were like drawings, like some kids had like crayoned the walls and stuff, like drawn. It was weird. It just had a weird feel to it. It was weird, right? It wasn't like scary. It was just weird. It was like, this is interesting. And then but they were kind of like, very granola, like Northern Californian type people, so like easygoing. Anyway, so I house sat for them. And I would go there to feed. I think I was feeding their cats or something. So it must have been cat. That was like cat sitting too. And then I would just like feed the cats, whatever, and then I would leave. But one night, I was staying there, and I was with Michelle, and so she stayed with me, and we slept up in. I think they told us. I think we were in their bed. I think they told us to use their bedroom, which basically was a mattress on the floor.
Oh, fun.
And so it was fine. Everything's fine. We were just hanging out and listening to the music, and then go to sleep. And as I go to sleep, I go like something's weird. I just hear I can like hear things. It's almost like I don't know. It's like there was like the talking, and I was like I would get up. I would look to see like did I leave the television on? Did I leave a radio on? Like what? No, it's just like weird like sounds. Then after that, another day. I come back, and God, I hear the chills again. I go upstairs. I don't remember. I don't know why I went upstairs to find one of the cats or something. I don't know. I go upstairs, and I get upstairs, and I like go to get to the bathroom by this bedroom, and I'm like, I just got the weirdest, creepiest feeling, and I was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. Like I gotta get out, like now. It was daytime. It wasn't like it was just. But so I get out. You know, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, I'm creeping myself out for nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. A year passes. They move to another house. We help them move. There's friends that are also there from out of state who help them move too. We have this big sushi party because he would make sushi and stuff. It was great. And we're just, you know, talking, right? And I say like, I talk about how like there's this like I just had this creeped out feeling about this house, and this woman stops what she's doing. She turns and she says, "Tell me what you just said." And I said, she's like, she calls Diana over. Like that was the professor. And she goes, "Diana, come here. Tell him." You know, she said, "Tell her what you just told me." So I tell her the story, and she's like, "You got to be kidding me!" There and her husband, or like I don't know if they were married or not, but like he was like, "Oh yeah, that stuff," because this woman had the same experience. This woman, her friend, stayed in that house one time with them there, and she said, she's like, that house had such a bad feeling to it. She's like, I told them I would never come back ever, ever come back to that house, and the dude who was like, you know, I don't know, significant other of my professor, he was like, "Oh yeah, that house was definitely haunted. Like we'd hear like it would sound like a radio at night, you know. And we just ignored it. It's just like he's like it's just like leftover energy, man. It's just like, you know, it's just out there."
Is that all? Oh well, that was something weird.
So I'm just saying. There's been places that I've lived, and I've lived, you know, in lots of different places, and there's places where I've lived, and things are definitely not, they're like, there's something else going on. Mm-hmm. Weird. Wow. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's energy. I don't know if it's up here. I don't know if there's something, maybe it's, what's that gas? Maybe it's, what's the gas that comes out of the ground that you like are supposed to test for, because it'll give you cancer if you don't test, and it's a Northeast thing or something. Yeah, it's like in the Northeast or mid, I don't know. Oregon. I don't know what it is. Anyway, maybe it's that. Maybe who knows? I don't know. Maybe it's the smell. I don't know. But I've lived some places where I'm like, oh yeah, they ain't good. And I've lived plenty of places where I'm like, there's no problem, no issue. Yeah, no issue here. I lived in a house in Baltimore City where I know at least one of the people died in the house, and it was a creepy little. I mean, this had a creepy basement feel to it. It had like haunted house written all over it, and nothing. I had
nary an orb.
Nope, no orbs, no weird energy, no sounds, no anything.
Well, that's almost disappointing.
Have you ever had anything?
Like a supernatural experience like that, or something that is unexplainable, but that
freak you the heck out?
I would tend to do it to myself when I was a kid. I at no time do I ever remember. I mean, you know, it's one of those the situations that I always think about when. The like in Ghostbusters when they have that the commercial, the TV commercial, and Egon says, "You ever experience unexplained feelings of dread in your basement or your garage or whatever?" And I would have that. You know, but mainly because I was a kid that would scare the absolute bejesus out of myself. You know, my brain would run away with me. And we talked about how like things like Raiders of the Lost Ark, while I loved the movie as a kid, also did nothing for my ability to sleep very well for a certain amount of time. And it was, you know, definitely the melting thing was a thing, but also just like particularly what almost was more creepy to me was the scene when the Ark is in the crate in Katanga's hold on his boat, and you hear that whirl, whirl, and the rat's like freaking out, and the thing and the Nazi stuff burns off of the side, like that to me was pretty darn creepy. Yeah, and that freaked me out a good bit. So things like that would be just running through my head. I mean, not specifically that, but just that sort of, I don't know if it has a genre or something like that, but something in that sort of whirl kind
It's
of
like a supernatural-ish kind of
right.
poltergeist-y.
It's eerie, and that's why I think that Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's the cool short version. Is so much more effective than either of the other two movies. Now I love the other two movies. Don't get me wrong, but the Old Testament artifact brings with it an eeriness and just a kind of air to it, and that's why the Holy Grail is such a New Testament thing. Then that's all like knights and honor, and things like that, and oh man, the Ark of the Covenant, that's some stuff right there. And I was fascinated too by it when I was that age because of that same thing. It freaked me out, but I was also like fascinated. I ended up doing I think it was in 6th grade, and I did a report on the Ark of the Covenant. I don't remember what we were supposed to report on. A historical object or something like that.
Raiders had been out for a while at that point, right? So you were hanging on to it.
So yeah, I think it was 6th grade, maybe it was 5th. I don't know, but it had been out a couple of years. But that was also, I think, a way for me to relive the movie. In a time when you couldn't really easily do that, right? Because VCRs and whatnot were still kind of out of reach. And
I did have a beta cassette of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Beta, yeah.
I can still smell it.
Yeah, yes, I can smell.
The sleeve. There was a smell, and it was just that particular one. I think it might have been the first movie I ever purchased as a child, and it had that smell in the sleeve of, I don't know, what is that, plastic and new book and new. So good.
I had a distinctively smelled cassette, but it was a cassette. It was an audio cassette, and it was, weirdly enough, it was the soundtrack to Star Trek 4. But it had I could smell it right now, just how that smells, and if I were to catch a whiff of that particular smell, it probably would actually quantum leap me back in time to my childhood, and we just have to cut the show off short because I would just I'm not in my seat anymore.
It's funny how things will retain smells though. Like if you have a box of something or a package you haven't opened in a long time, an envelope, and you pull it out, open it up, it's there.
Oh yeah,
smells persist. It's great. It's great.
It's almost like it's not exactly a high, but it is almost a weird sort of.
It's a transcendent
reality. Yeah, exactly. It replaces reality for just a second. I mean,
it connects you to this point
memories and consciousness and what your thoughts, dreams, wants, desires, all of that stuff just goes flooding back because who you were at that time is attached to that so deeply.
Because
Pretty
it's
cool.
all down there in the amygdala.
Yeah, that's I thought that was a type of jam.
Only if you make them smush it up out. Mix it with honey
monkey
or something.
brains.
Problematic. Yeah, so I don't know if there was anything else to that other than it was spooky to me. That stuff is spooky. I haven't shared that with many people. That set of stories.
The guy now, was the guy on the hill in Baltimore, was he an older guy, like an adult person? Was he a child? Did you see him sort of similar to you in age?
It was a male, older adult, not necessarily an old man, but not like young. He didn't represent any real person that I knew.
Right. Could you see his face? I mean, do you have an idea, or was it one of those sort of dreamy?
It was obscured or just undetectable. But if you watch the trailer, here come the goosebumps. If you watch the trailer for Burnt Offerings, you will see the likeness. Like this guy, because I think in my mind I merged these things together. I can't explain why my brother had the same dream.
Yeah,
we never had any bad experiences. We never had anything. Probably the spookiest picture I've ever seen, and I probably have it. So I will, if you help me remember, I will post it also, just to delight everyone. I will post a picture of this spot in my basement. And I will, and one of the spookiest pictures I have that I found, my grandmother had this picture, was there was a party happening. I think it was my grandparents' maybe 25th wedding anniversary or something. And there was a party happening. It's black and white, of course, I think.
Of course.
And the kids, like they're all like having a party in the basement. They're on a party in this basement, right? And there's streamers hanging and everything. And then in the window are these kids like looking in, like, I hope they're real. I hope they're real.
As long as Jack Nicholson's not in the picture, I think you're right.
The only other story that I could attach is that my grandfather, apparently when they were building this house, like nothing weird happened as far as I know, in terms of no one like died on site or anything. It wasn't like built in an old cemetery as far as we know.
Battleground or something.
I mean, you moved the bodies, but you didn't move I know you moved the headstones, but you didn't move the bodies. You remember that line?
Is that Amityville?
Poltergeist.
You
moved the headstones, but you didn't move the bodies. You moved. Anyway.
Craig T. Nelson.
Oh, such a good guy. God, I should watch that tonight. It's so good.
Speaking of Craig T. Nelson and weird movies like that, we watched Devil's Advocate the other night. I hadn't seen that before.
Yeah. That's ooh.
That's
that barely squeaked by with an R rating.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have my thoughts on that, but anyway.
I haven't seen that in years, but isn't Keanu Reeves in that?
Yes, he is.
And
doing a very interesting accent. It's supposed to be. Reeves. He's supposed to be from Florida, and his type of Southern accent that he's doing is more of like a Scarlett O'Hara, Georgia kind of thing.
I mean, no one told him that you don't really have a Southern accent if you're from Florida, unless you're from the Panhandle, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they didn't go full blown like where all the scenes shot in Florida were, through an amber filter and everybody's sweating, but. That's what you usually get if you have a movie that has anything to do with what's his name that did The Firm and Pelican Brief and all that.
That guy.
I can't think of the name.
Grisham.
Now. John Grisham, yeah. Mm-hmm. If the film has anything to do with John Grisham, that's how they're going to shoot the stuff. And we all drive vintage cars for some reason.
I love Keanu Reeves.
I love Keanu Reeves.
He's like one of the coolest dudes, like him and Jeff Bridges, and they're just like, this is who I am, man. This is who I am. Yeah. Like, I'm not even gonna really act much. Like I'm gonna get in, I'm gonna say my lines and say them well, and
Did you see the new Bill and Ted?
Yeah, I haven't yet, but I want to.
I like it. I
like
it good? A lot. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
How can it not be awesome?
And the thing is, the girls that are playing their kids do a great job.
Oh yeah,
they are. There's okay. The reason I like Bill and Ted so much, not just because I like Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, but I like it because, and other people have said this too, because it's not the typical kind of 80s teen thing in that they are, kind of misfits, but they're not picked on. It's not like a nerds versus jocks thing. There's, and they kind of shoehorn in this princesses thing, but for the most part, there's no romantic interest and there's no chasing the girl or whatever, and everything is just so positive. They are friends and undeniably friends, and they don't get. There's only one time when they get mad at each other, when Bill. When Ted keeps hounding Bill because his stepmom, remember when I asked her to prom? He's like, shut up, Ted. And then they stop for a second, and then Ted goes, and makes this smile, and then everything's fine, and they keep going. We don't have that thing, where like Act 3 is always the complication, and they're like, I hate you. None of that stuff happens. It's all very positive, and the people, that's what I love about the movie, and
But you're kind of waiting for it to get weird.
Right, and it doesn't. It never does. And with Bill and Ted 3, I'm not going to spoil anything. It's just about the character of their kids. They are still just as goofy as they were in the first movies. And their kids are obviously following in their footsteps in that same kind of way. They're into music and they're kind of, kind of weirdos, but they're decently smart. They're certainly smarter than their parents. But there's never that my dad is so embarrassing or whatever, the usual kid rebellion thing. They're all in with their parents trying to make the song that unites the world or whatever, and they're like, oh, we got to help them, and it's just so positive. Awesome. And I love it. It's such a great movie. The whole friggin' 1, 2, and 3, all good stuff.
Well, I got to watch it now for sure.
Yeah, it's good.
That's good. That's cool. That's very cool. But it doesn't scare you.
No, not usually. No.
What's
not
the scariest
even
movie you've ever seen?
Scariest movie I've ever seen. I know the movie now. There's going to be kind of a weird distinction here. Easily not the scariest movie I've ever seen, but probably the movie that scared me the most when I was a kid is, and it's such. If I went back and watched it now, it was probably goofy and cheesy and stupid. But at the time, and I had to have been, I don't know, 11, maybe 12. And I caught this movie called Witchboard, which was about a Ouija board. This guy was a Ouija board. I don't even know necessarily the plot of it, but there was this whole aspect of it where the guy was like, never ever do the Ouija board on your own. Always have somebody else doing it with you because you're vulnerable and blah blah blah. And then of course the lady who is, trying to find, I don't know, the murderer of her dad or whatever, at one point does it alone and crazy things happen. And just, I don't know, something about the whole Ouija board thing particularly plucked a string with me with like the occult or whatever. It wasn't even like a religious thing. It was just the creepiness of the rituality of that board, and it's all script and stuff. And so like 2 years later, when I'm walking through like Target and Parker Brothers has a Ouija board, I said, what? Because this guy, in the movie, they have to go to the Asian man with the curiosity shop in Hell's Kitchen or whatever.
The guy who sells the gremlin things too.
Right, exactly. It's like that kind of shop. They have to go in to get these things, these Ouija boards, and there's like 2 or 3 of them that end up floating around in this movie. But I remember that being extremely scary to me at the time. Now, again, not exactly the scariest movie I've ever seen, but at the time, that sucker was scary as hell. As for the sort of like objectively scariest movie, that one's a hard one because I'm not that big into the horror type genre. And any kind of like thriller kind of thing is a lot better if it's tense and suspenseful. So, I found like the first time I saw Silence of the Lambs, that end scene where it's in night vision, that was really like tense and crazy. And I remember that being really creepy. And the very first Blair Witch. Because the whole time there's a certain tension, and it really is kind of a hockey stick kind of thing. The tension kind of stays at the bottom for a while because you're just watching these kids trying to do their thing, and they hear the creepy stories, but there's not a lot going on. And then it starts really kind of ramping up, and then when they go into that house, that's when it shoots through the roof, and it's just for that last like 2 seconds of footage when you have the idea, you have that moment, and I loved it for that, where you're like, oh, that's dude, what's he doing? And then it's over. And then you're like, when you have that realization of what's going on, it's really, really good. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I remember that. That was the same year also Stir of Echoes came out.
I never saw
Actually,
it.
no. Wait, that actually may have been a couple years later. So Stir of Echoes came out in '99 or 2000.
Yeah, I remember hearing the title.
That was the same year as remember the I See Dead People.
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That came around the same time. Those are both fantastic movies. Kevin Bacon's in, of course, as you know, in Stir of Echoes. Your buddy Kevin Bacon.
Boy.
Yeah. So that's worth watching if you haven't seen it.
Cool. I'll check it out.
And Sixth Sense is great. I mean,
oh man, it's so good.
I mean,
and I like that kind of paranormally kind of. Like I wouldn't call it a horror movie, but it definitely is kind of.
But I kind of identified with that kid a little bit, and like not that I saw dead people, but like the whole idea of like walking past the room and like there's somebody there, like oh yeah, that's if I could have seen it, that's what it felt like. Like that was the. That's it.
Right. Yeah. That's one that, I mean, did you see it coming at all when you first saw it?
No, of course not.
Yeah, I didn't either.
No,
yeah.
But I don't want to give anything away.
No. But it's...
of the M. Night movies are...
When you go back...
He does a great job with those.
It's like that... it's like the scene in Finding Nemo when Dory suddenly remembers everything and it does that trombone shot and everything.
Yeah,
goes,
no, it's exactly like that. I think that's probably where they got that.
When it happens, you're like... and then that, oh my God, how can I not see it? Yeah, it was, yeah. And all of them are pretty good, but that one is definitely the one that got me the hardest. Unbreakable got me.
Unbreakable to me wasn't scary. It was a thriller.
Oh, it's not scary, but I mean the twist ending or whatever. I was like, ooh.
There's always a twist ending, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like Signs, I didn't.
Signs? Every time Michelle leaves a glass of water sitting around, I think about that movie. Like, oh, that's probably why it's there.
I thought that the twist ending was kind of silly in that one because it was like 7 twist endings.
It was a lot of twists.
And
that's
the baseball bat and the water and the asthma and the
I see.
It's like, oh,
well, you really
went for broke on this one. But the other thing is that a lot of people cite that thing where you can see the alien in the TV news thing. It's being really creepy, and I found that disappointing. I really liked the idea of never really seeing the aliens. You just see that one flash, when they're out in the field or whatever. I really liked the idea of never seeing, and that's why I think Blair Witch was so effective. Is that you never saw it. You just because, as many writers have said, the thing that's happening in your head. You can't film that and do it justice. So if you can create that in there, and then what people are going to be sort of thinking in their head is going to be way worse than anything you can actually put on screen.
I think probably the scariest movie. I don't know. Probably the scariest movie experience I've ever had was watching The Ring by myself in a hotel room, which just you shouldn't do.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't know why I was even compelled to finish it. Like I just was in it. Like I just couldn't stop. And that end scene happens, and I had to sleep with the lights on in the room. I was back in that bedroom in the basement again. Yeah, I couldn't do it. But I do enjoy. It's funny. Like I enjoy scary movies, but I have to be I have to gear myself up for it. I love scary movies in the movie theater.
Yeah.
I'm like the most annoying person in the world.
With you.
Well, yeah, because I'm laughing half the time. I'm just like crazy laughing at the suspense. Like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm trying to start talking out loud. Like, I've got to be. People must hate me because I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like shouting at them. Like, don't go there. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. Or when it's going to happen, I start like laughing because I know like, oh my God, someone's going to die. Someone's going to die.
Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster. Like, I love that. That's like scary movies in the movie theater is great. But we can't do that right now because it's scary. It's just real world scary.
Yeah, there's actual scariness happening.
Everybody stay home. Enjoy your fake scary. Yeah. Let the real world scary happen.
Should have like
read some Richard Scarry.
There you go. Lowly Worm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I loved Richard Scarry when I was a little kid.
Me too.
I remember Lowly Worm was like my boy.
The one with the vehicles, the book with the vehicles?
Yeah. I was like, how is he driving that?
Oh, I love
He's a worm. He doesn't have any hands.
And he would appear like in little spots, like, oh, look, I'm there.
Yeah, and you had to find him. Yeah. He had that hat on, that little sort of like old dude hat with
the airplane
like
page. The page with the airplanes, that was my favorite.
I remember the one with all the vehicles, I think, the most vividly.
Favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go find that.
Richard Scary.
Happy Halloween, people. Happy Halloween. I know I was gonna light a match.
I don't know what that was.
Hold on, this.